I still remember the night I almost became one of her shadows beneath the water. My name is Otieno, the son of a fisherman, born and raised in the quiet village of Sori, where Lake Victoria stretches wide like an endless secret. Growing up, we were taught to respect the lake. It fed us, carried our boats, and swallowed those who took it lightly. But there was another warning, spoken in hushed voices around evening fires. Akinyi. Some called her a spirit. Others said she was once a woman. The elders never agreed on her origin, but they all agreed on one thing: she was dangerous. She is beauty itself, old Mzee Odhiambo once told us, his voice trembling as the flames flickered against his wrinkled face. But not the kind meant for this world. We laughed then. We were young. Foolish. We thought stories were just stories. I stopped laughing the night I met her. It was during the long dry season. Fish had grown scarce, and many of us young men had begun fishing deeper into the night, hoping to catch more when the waters were quiet. That evening, the moon was full, hanging low and bright, casting silver light across the lake. I remember pushing my small wooden boat into the water, the cool waves licking at my ankles. The air was still, too still, as if the lake itself was holding its breath. I paddled out alone. At first, everything was normal. The gentle splash of water against my boat, the distant croak of frogs, the occasional ripple beneath the surface. I cast my net and waited. That was when I heard it. A voice. Soft. Melodic. Singing. At first, I thought it was coming from another fisherman, maybe someone drifting nearby. But as I listened, I realized the voice was too clear, too close, and yet I saw no one. The song was in Luo, but the words felt older, like something carried by the wind from a forgotten time. It wrapped around me, pulling at my thoughts, softening my senses. Who is there? I called out. The singing stopped. Silence. Then, from the water beside my boat, she rose. I have seen beautiful women in my life. Girls from neighboring villages, brides adorned with beads and bright fabrics. But nothing prepared me for her. Akinyi emerged from the lake as if the water itself was giving birth to her. It parted around her body, glistening under the moonlight. Her skin was smooth and light, almost glowing, reflecting the silver light in a way that made her seem unreal. Her hair was long and thick, falling down her back like a dark river. It clung slightly to her shoulders, wet but somehow perfect. Her figure was full and curved, her presence commanding without effort. But it was her eyes that held me. Deep. Dark. Endless. They were not just looking at me, if they were seeing through me. You should not be here alone, she said softly. Her voice was the same as the song. Gentle. Sweet. Dangerous. I should have been afraid. I should have turned my boat and fled. But I didn't. Instead, I found myself leaning closer. Who are you? I asked. She smiled. You already know. And I did. Akinyi. They say when a spirit calls you, your body forgets what fear is. That is true. I watched her as she rested her arms on the edge of my boat, her fingers trailing lightly along the wood. Water dripped slowly from her skin, creating small ripples that seemed too loud in the silence. You fish at the wrong time, she continued, her voice almost teasing. I need to, I replied weakly. She tilted her head, studying me. Or perhaps, she said, you are meant to find me. My heart began to beat faster, though not with fear. It was something else. Something heavy and pulling. She moved closer. The lake did not resist her. It seemed to welcome her, lifting her gently as she came near. Come, she whispered, extending her hand toward me. The water is warm tonight. I looked at her hand. Smooth. Inviting. Everything in me wanted to take it. That is when I remembered my mother. Not her face, but her voice. Not everything beautiful is a blessing, as she used to say. The memory struck me like a slap. For a brief second, the spell broke. And in that second, I saw something I had missed before. The water around her, it was too still. No fish. No movement. Just a dark, heavy silence. And her eyes. They were not just deep. They were empty. I pulled back suddenly, shaking my head. No, but I said, my voice trembling. Her expression changed. Not anger. Not yet. Confusion. Why do you refuse? She asked softly. I grabbed my paddle, my hands shaking. I have to go. For a moment, she said nothing. Then, slowly, her smile returned, but this time, it was different. Colder. You cannot leave, she said. The water around my boat began to move. At first, it was gentle. Then stronger. The lake, once calm, turned restless. I tried to paddle, but it felt like I was pushing against something unseen, something pulling me back. She rose higher from the water, no longer leaning on the boat. You came to me, she said, her voice losing its softness. You heard my call. I didn't know. I shouted. But you came. The water surged. A wave hit my boat, nearly tipping it over. I struggled to keep balance, my heart pounding in my chest. Akinyi, please, I said. Let me go. She watched me, her face unreadable. Do you think you are the first to beg? She asked quietly. The lake grew darker beneath her. Do you think you are the first to resist? I shook my head, desperation rising. I don't want to die. Something flickered in her eyes. Not kindness. But something close to it. For a moment, just a moment, the storm slowed. Then why did you come to me? She asked again, softer this time. I had no answer. The silence stretched between us. Then, suddenly, I did something I still do not fully understand. I began to pray. Not loudly. Not even clearly. Just a whisper, a desperate call to anything that might be listening. Her expression changed again. This time, there was something like pain in her eyes. She stepped back. The water around my boat loosened. You should not have come, she said quietly. And then, just like that, she sank. The lake closed over her as if she had never been there. I did not wait. I paddled harder than I ever had in my life, not daring to look back. The village lights grew closer, and only when my boat touched the shore did I finally collapse, my body shaking. The next morning, I told the elders everything. They listened in silence. When I finished, Mzee Odhiambo nodded slowly. She let you go, he said. Why? I asked. He looked toward the lake. Even spirits remember what they once were. Since that night, I have never gone fishing alone. And I never stay on the water after sunset. Sometimes, when the moon is full, I hear the singing again. Soft. Beautiful. Calling. And I know she is still there. Waiting. For the next man who thinks he is strong enough to resist her. But I know the truth. No one is. I was not strong. I was lucky. And in Sori, luck does not come twice.